Hey everyone, it's Emily and I'm here with Dr. Wiggy, and we are actually celebrating our anniversary, and he was kind enough to let me interview him to give you a glimpse of what he's going to be discussing at our upcoming Day of MomSanity on August 2nd. So thank you, Dr. Wiggy, for allowing me to interview you today
Of course.
as Dr. Wiggy. Uh, So, at our retreat, you're going to be talking about female hormones and how those vary and change and what's important about them through the years. So, to start off, will you tell us a little bit about what you feel is one of the most common misconceptions about female hormones?
Well, that's a good question, and that's a lot of what we do in the practice is we do a lot of hormone balancing. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions about just hormones, especially in the age group from, let's say, 20 to 40, and kind of that childbearing age, is that a lot of times people are coming in to see me and they are still having a lot of hormonal symptoms, and they're taking birth control pills to kind of take care of those symptoms. And a lot of times they're told just how benign and how it's okay to just be on birth control pills for 50 years, and that there's no repercussions to that. But the truth is, birth control pills can cause a lot of havoc on your hormones. And one of the biggest problems that I see when people are on birth control pills is that you really seem to shut down the natural production of your hormones when you're taking the synthetic hormones like birth control pills. And when you shut down your natural production, you're losing all of the protection and the beneficial effects that you have from that natural production of estradiol and progesterone and pregnenolone and all those levels. Again, when we check them, they're very low. And so a big part of what I do, especially when I'm trying to fix hormones, one of the first steps is to get people off the birth control pills and then balance them with the bioidentical or natural hormones. A lot of times people notice a world of difference just by doing that.
Awesome, thanks. A lot of times we, as women, think that having crazy periods and feeling terrible with PMS or having severe cramps and that kind of thing is just part of being a woman. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's just part of being a woman. That's that's a tough part of being a woman, but it doesn't have to be like that. And a lot of, again, same sort of thing. People come in and they tell me that they're going through all these hormonal stuff, and that's not normal. It's not normal to have really heavy periods, to have periods that are 2 weeks 1 month and then 6 weeks another month, or you have severe cramping that keep you from doing things, and all those symptoms are signs of a hormone imbalance. And the good news is, again, there's more to be done than just throwing people on birth control pills. There's ways to balance those hormones naturally. And again, besides just fixing the hormones, a lot of times it's also an indication that there are other imbalances or other endocrine problems going on, whether it's thyroid or adrenals, and sometimes you have to look at all those things and how they all tie together.
Awesome. As women and especially moms, we see a lot of people under chronic stress, and also a lot of women are wanting to lose fat. Do you see a correlation between stress and female hormones and fat loss? Kind of, we'll group all three of those things together.
Sure. And that's I guess, kind of a tricky question, because yes, all those things are definitely connected with burning fat and for just proper metabolism. The stress and hormone connection, absolutely, there's a connection between high levels of stress, and especially chronic stress, and the deficiency or the imbalance in certain hormones. So I'll kind of address that one first. But this might be a little more technical than what you're looking for, but what happens when you're under chronic stress or have high levels of stress is that you end up generally being depleted in cortisol, and cortisol is kind of our body's main stress response hormone. But when that happens, when we have so much stress, is when our cortisol levels get depleted, that also starts to pull from our other hormones, including pregnenolone and progesterone. And when it does that, then that creates the imbalance. And a lot of times when people are under stress, they're low in pregnenolone, low in progesterone. Their estrogen might be okay, but then that's when it has that imbalance. Estrogen might be okay, but progesterone is low. So there definitely is a correlation between stress and then hormone imbalances. And then these hormone imbalances, again, whether or not it's due to stress, whenever the hormones are not in balance, that does change our metabolism because it does change our physiology. And whenever hormones are out of balance, it's going to be very difficult to lose weight. So until you correct that imbalance, no matter what you're doing, how hard you're working out, how hard you're following the diet plan, it doesn't seem to work until you get those hormone levels in balance, but also optimize the levels for that particular person.
Thank you. So at MomSanity, we try to help moms balance motherhood, faith, fitness, and nutrition. What is your favorite part of MomSanity? You get to see a lot of behind the scenes. So what do you think is the best part about MomSanity?
Oh, that's a tough question, because I do get to see a lot of the behind the scenes parts, and I loved Coach Jason's little interview that he did with Debbie about ManSanity, because I think that is kind of the behind the scenes part of the part of this program, because there's a lot to it. There's a lot to MomSanity, and there's so much that all these coaches they pour into it, and they put a lot of time and effort into it. And usually what ends up happening is that we also get pulled into this as well. And so a lot of times I'm also, I hear Emily yelling every couple of weeks, "Wiggy, I need some help with this," and so it's true. And I think that I'm happy to help, but it also is I can just see how time consuming this is for all of them. My favorite part is, I think that the greatest thing about this is just how Emily is doing so well with it, and how she tells me so many great stories about how people are getting helped, how there's people that are posting pictures, flexing their biceps, showing how much that they've leaned out and they feel stronger since doing the workouts, and just how all these women are able to use this as a form of a ministry, and to be able to do the 4 components, including the faith component. And I think that's a huge part that's missing in a lot of these other communities and other mom sites, is that they're neglecting the faith component. And we all know how difficult life is, especially with kids, that unless you have that strong faith, unless you have that strong foundation, it is just even harder. So I think it's great that there's this organization that has all these components in there, and they're focusing on probably the most important thing, and that's our relationship with God and relationship with Jesus Christ.
Thanks. And finally, the most important question: how does one achieve ManSanity?
Well, if I knew that answer, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd write a book about it, because gosh, just with everything that's going on with MomSanity, with how great it's doing, with all the things that I have going on in myself with the practice and with my own online programs and trying to keep up with that, ManSanity is just, I think, something we have to deal with kind of in this stage of life. And I think that a lot of people that are in this young kid stage and with early on in their careers, that this is just a tough stage of life. So I'm constantly striving for that, for some sort of sanity and for some sort of peace with everything, and just a sense of contentment. But I think for me, I'm always striving for something more. I'm always striving for something different, something to challenge me. So I don't know. Ask me that when I'm retired, and maybe I'll figure it out by then.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for taking a few minutes to let us interview you and have a glimpse into your life as Dr. Wiggy and Coach Wiggy as well. Those are 2 different hats, but they do come close together. So thanks again, and we can't wait to have you present to us about female hormones through the years and how important they are at our August 2nd Day of MomSanity. We'll see you then.
Look forward to seeing you there.